29th of July 1944, a radio message crackled into a safe house on Crespigny Road in North London. The message, relayed from the Abwehr station in Madrid, read that the Führer had personally authorized the Iron Cross Second Class for the man receiving it, a decoration granted without exception only to frontline combatants. The man sitting in that room was not a soldier. He was a bespectacled, balding Spaniard in a cramped bedroom working for British intelligence. His only formal qualification was a diploma from the Royal Poultry School at Armies. He was, in the driest literal sense, a certified chicken farmer. 4 months later, MCOMO I5 Director General Sir David Petrie presented the same man with the most excellent order of the British Empire at a private banquet. He had prepared a little speech. When he finished, everyone in the room began banging on the table. His name was Juan Pujol Garcia. The Germans knew him as Alaric. MI5 called him Garbo, the best actor in the world. He had built a network of 27 spies across Britain and fed their reports to Berlin for 3 years. Not one of those spies existed. He had invented every single one of them. Their names, their jobs, their politics, their expenses. The Abwehr paid roughly $340,000 to support this phantom army. And in June 1944, his fabricated intelligence convinced Adolf Hitler to hold 150,000 German troops at the Pas de Calais while Allied soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy. The deception was supposed to last 2 weeks. It lasted 7. No other individual in the Second World War received decorations from both the Allies and the Axis. The chicken farmer from Barcelona pulled off what no professional spy had managed before, or has since. We told the story of Tommy Flowers, the man who built the first computer to crack German codes. But there was another man, fighting on the same side of the same war, whose weapon was not a machine. It was pure fiction. This is the story of Agent Garbo. Juan Pujol Garcia was born on the 14th of February 1912 in Barcelona. His father, Joan Pujol, was a self-made Catalan industrialist from the mountain town of Olot, who owned Barcelona's most important dye house, a business renowned across the textile trade for its superb blacks. His mother, Mercedes Garcia Guijarro, was an Andalusian from Motril, raised by strict Catholics who received Holy Communion every morning. She was, by all accounts, an unyielding disciplinarian with a relentlessly Christian outlook. The household ran on the creative tension between a secular liberal father and a mother who saw moral instruction as her sacred duty. The boy took after neither parent and both at once. He was, by his own admission, fairly unmanageable. His biographer Stefan Talti described a child permanently covered in bandages from acting out wild adventures as the Hollywood cowboy Tom Mix, crashing his tricycle through plate glass windows, leaping off walls, turning every room into a film set. His imagination, Pujol later said, controlled his brain, and he was powerless to stop it. He churned through schools the way other boys churned through shoes. The Marist Brothers Valdemia boarding school in Mataró lasted from ages 7 to 11, then a La Salle Brothers school in Barcelona, then a school run by his father's card-playing friend, Mossen Josep, which ended after an argument with a teacher when Juan was 16. His academic career was, by any conventional measure, a disaster. His sole qualification, the one piece of paper he could show the world, was a diploma from the Royal Poultry School at Armies. His father died in 1931, shortly after the Second Republic was proclaimed. The family was left comfortable but adrift. Juan completed 6 months of compulsory military service in the 7th Regiment of Light Artillery and declared himself entirely unsuited for military life. He claimed to lack what he called the essential qualities of loyalty, generosity, and honor. Whether this was genuine modesty or calculated avoidance of further service is impossible to say. He drifted through hardware apprenticeships, poultry farming, hotel management, and cinema operation, never settling, never committing, always watching. Then the Spanish Civil War tore Barcelona apart, and the Daydreamer found something worth fighting against. In 1936, Republican forces arrested his sister Elena's fiancé, then detained Elena and his mother Mercedes as suspected counter-revolutionaries. They survived only because a relative had trade union connections and pulled strings. Juan hid from Republican conscription at his girlfriend's home. A police raid found him. He spent a week in prison before the clandestine Carlist resistance network Socorro Blanco staged his release. A female operative posed as a revolutionary, arranged his midnight extraction, and provided forged identity papers showing him too old for service. He managed a requisitioned poultry farm under committee rule. The economic chaos of forced collectivization, production quotas set by men who had never touched a hen, supplies vanishing into party coffers, deepened his hostility toward the Republican side. But he was no nationalist either. When he eventually rejoined the Republican military under his false papers, it was specifically to position himself near the front line so he could cross it. He volunteered to lay telegraph cables and deserted to the nationalist side during the Battle of the Ebro in September 1938. The nationalists proved no better. His colonel struck him across the face and had him imprisoned for expressing sympathy with the monarchy rather than Falangist ideology. The message was clear. Independent thought was unwelcome on both sides of the war. Pujol emerged from the Civil War with two convictions burned into him. First, a visceral hatred of both fascism and communism, not as abstract ideologies, but as systems he had watched destroy families, including his own. Second, a quiet pride that he had served in both armies without firing a single bullet for either side. In April 1940, he married Araceli González Carballo in Madrid. Their first son, Juan Fernando, was born before the year was out. Pujol was managing a small hotel, watching Hitler's armies swallow Europe on the newsreels, and feeling what he later described as an unbearable compulsion. His humanist convictions, he said, would not allow him to turn a blind eye to the enormous suffering unleashed by this psychopath, Hitler. He had to do something practical. The chicken farmer had no connections, no training, no languages beyond Spanish and rudimentary French. He had a wife, an infant son, and an imagination that had never served any useful purpose in his life. He decided it was time to change that. In January 1941, Juan Pujol Garcia walked into the British embassy in Madrid and offered to spy for Britain against Nazi Germany. He had no credentials, no military rank worth mentioning, no connections to the intelligence world. He was a 30-year-old hotel manager with a poultry diploma and a Catalan accent. He told the consular staff he wanted to help defeat Hitler and was willing to travel anywhere, do anything, risk everything. They listened politely. They asked him to leave. He went back. Same embassy, same offer, same result. On at least one occasion, Araceli went in his place, hoping a woman might receive a warmer reception from the British officials. A consular officer named David Thompson examined whatever materials Pujol had prepared and turned them away. 3 approaches in Madrid and Lisbon both. 3 flat rejections. The British suspected he was a German plant, an agent provocateur sent to test embassy security. An unknown civilian walking in off the street to volunteer as a spy was, in the eyes of professional intelligence officers, either delusional or dangerous, probably both. It is worth pausing here, because this pattern should sound familiar. The same British establishment that rejected Pujol had rejected Frank Whittle when he brought them the jet engine. The same bureaucratic caution that turned away a volunteer spy would later destroy Tommy Flower's Colossus computers after the war because nobody in authority could imagine their value. The system was not evil, it was careful. And careful in wartime has a cost measured in lives. Pujol could have given up. He had tried the proper channels and been refused. Most people would have gone home, poured a drink, and told themselves they had done their bit. Instead, he made the decision that would alter the course of the Second World War. If the British would not take him as a spy, he would make himself impossible to refuse. He would walk into the German embassy, get himself recruited by the Abwehr, and then offer himself to the British as a double agent already inside the enemy's apparatus. The logic was reckless and brilliant in equal measure, the kind of plan that only works if you have absolutely nothing to lose and an imagination ungoverned by common sense. Araceli walked into the German embassy in Madrid and arranged an introductory meeting. Pujol presented himself as a fanatically pro-Nazi Spanish government official with access to travel documents for Britain. He was a convincing liar. He had spent the Civil War pretending to be someone he was not on both sides of the front line. The Germans were interested. His first contact was Wilhelm Leisner, who operated under the alias Gustav Lenz as head of the Abwehr station in Spain. Leisner referred him downward to a subordinate named Friedrich Knapperate, whom Pujol knew only as Federico. Knapperate provided basic training in espionage tradecraft, secret ink, cover stories, communication protocols. But the man who would manage Pujol throughout the war, the man whose career and survival depended on Garbo's success, was Major Karl Erich Kuhlenthal. Kuhlenthal is one of those figures history seems to have designed for irony. He was head of the Abwehr's espionage section in Madrid, a senior German intelligence officer responsible for running agents across the Iberian Peninsula. He was also a Mischling. Under the Nuremberg racial laws, his Jewish grandmother made him legally suspect. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, the Abwehr chief and Kuhlenthal's relative by marriage, had personally arranged an Aryan certificate for him in 1941, a piece of paper that kept him alive and employed. The historian Ben McIntyre described a man driven by a pathological desire to please his bosses with a stream of intelligence revelations. Kuhlenthal could not afford a dry spell. He could not afford to question a productive source. He could not afford to fail. When Pujol walked through his door, offering access to Britain, Kuhlenthal saw exactly what he needed to see: a zealous volunteer, not a fabrication. The Germans gave Pujol a bottle of invisible ink, a code book, a questionnaire listing priority intelligence targets across Britain, cover addresses in Lisbon and Madrid, and £600 in expenses. His personal code name was Alaric. His network was designated Arabelle. His instructions were straightforward: travel to England, establish yourself, recruit a network of sub-agents, and begin reporting on military dispositions. On the 12th of July 1941, the Garcia family left Madrid for Lisbon. Pujol had told the Germans he was heading to London. He was not. He had never been to Britain. He did not speak English. He had no contacts, no safe houses, no infrastructure. He had a bottle of invisible ink, £600, and the same runaway imagination that had once sent him crashing through plate glass windows on a tricycle. He checked into a pension in Lisbon, walked to the public library, and began building his war. For 9 months from a rented room in Lisbon, Juan Pujol Garcia wrote detailed intelligence reports about a country he had never visited, describing military installations he had never seen, quoting conversations he had never had, and filing expense claims in a currency he did not understand. His tools were laughable: a blue guide to England, a handful of reference books from the Lisbon Public Library, cinema newsreels, railway timetables, shipping schedules, clipped from Portuguese newspapers, a map of Britain torn from an atlas, and the same imagination that had once turned a living room into the Wild West. He invented 5 sub-agents to explain the breadth of his supposed intelligence network. A Portuguese businessman named Carvalho, who served as courier. A Swiss German named Gerbers based in Liverpool. A Venezuelan student. A Gibraltarian waiter. Each had a biography, a motivation, a reason for spying against the Allies. Each existed only in Pujol's head. He claimed his letters from London reached Lisbon via a corrupt KLM airline pilot willing to carry documents for cash. The pilot, naturally, did not exist either. The reports were inventive, prolific, and riddled with errors that should have exposed the entire operation. Pujol described Glaswegian dock workers who would do anything for a litre of wine, betraying both his ignorance of Scottish drinking habits and his unfamiliarity with the imperial system. Scots drank whiskey and beer, measured in pints, not litres. He could not properly total expenses in Britain's pre-decimal currency of pounds, shillings, and pence. His geography was occasionally wrong. His military terminology was sometimes garbled. None of it mattered. The Abwehr was enchanted. Madrid cabled back that his reports gave them a perfect idea of what was taking place in Britain, and that the intelligence had, as they put it, incalculable value. Kulenthal needed product to justify his position, and Pujol was delivering it by the ream. Then the fiction crossed the line into reality. Pujol invented a convoy sailing from Liverpool to Malta. He described the ships, the departure date, the route, the Kriegsmarine, the German Navy, dispatched assets to intercept it. Submarines and patrol aircraft were redirected to hunt a convoy that did not exist. The resources were real. The fuel was real. The operational hours pulled from other missions were real. Only the target was imaginary. 6,000 kilometers away, in a country house in Buckinghamshire, someone noticed. British codebreakers at Bletchley Park, reading Abwehr communications encrypted with Enigma, spotted a German agent codenamed Arabelle reporting from inside Britain. The reports were detailed, frequent, and, the analysts quickly realized, fictitious. Desmond Bristow of MI6's Section 5 and his superior Kim Philby tracked the traffic and confirmed that Arabelle was a fabricator operating from outside Britain. The question was whether he was a German provocation or something far more unusual. Araceli forced the answer. She walked into the office of Lieutenant Patrick Demarest at the United States Naval Attaché in Lisbon and told him plainly, "The spy you are looking for is my husband." Demarest contacted British counterparts. MI6 officer Jean Risseau-Gill met Pujol at a cafe overlooking the beach at Estoril. A turf war erupted between MI5 and MI6 over who would control the case. MI5 won. Pujol was smuggled to Gibraltar, where an MI9 officer named Donald Darling gave him the temporary code name Mr. Bovril, a joke referencing the beef concentrates advertising slogan, to prevent that sinking feeling. He was flown to Plymouth aboard a Sunderland flying boat, arriving on the 24th of April, 1942. At Plymouth, 2 MI5 officers were waiting. Cyril Mills, who spoke no Spanish, was the initial case officer. He suggested the codename upgrade from Bovril to Garbo, calling Pujol the best actor in the world after Greta Garbo. Mills quickly recognized that running a Spanish-speaking agent required a Spanish-speaking handler and passed the case to the man who would become Pujol's creative partner for the rest of the war. Thomas Joseph Harris was born in Hampstead in 1908, half English, half Spanish, educated at the Slade School of Fine Art. Before the war, he was an art dealer specializing in Goya prints. He joined MI5 in early 1941 with the help of Anthony Blunt, the same Anthony Blunt later exposed as a Soviet spy. Harris worked in Section B1A, the counter-espionage unit managing double agents under Colonel Tar Robertson. He spoke Spanish like a native. The official history of British intelligence called the Harris-Pujol partnership one of those rare collaborations between two exceptionally gifted men whose inventive genius inspired and complemented each other. Together, working 6 to 8 hours a day in a cramped office, they expanded the network from 5 fictional agents to 27. Each agent had a complete biography, a name, a personality, an ideology, an occupation, a location, a reason for cooperating. The architecture was numbered methodically. Primary agents 1 through 7, with sub-agents designated in parentheses. Agent 2 was William Gerbers, the Swiss German in Liverpool, who reported on drunken orgies and slack morals among port workers. When his usefulness expired, Harris and Pujol composed an obituary, had it planted in a Liverpool newspaper, and informed the Abwehr that Gerbers had perished. The Germans were persuaded to pay a pension to his widow. The widow, who did not exist, was then incorporated into the network as a new source. Agent 3 operated out of Glasgow with a sub-network that included a Greek seaman, critical for later deception operations in Scotland. Agent 7 was an ex-sailor whose web of sub-agents included Welsh nationalists and a fictitious fascist cell in Swansea called the Brothers of the Aryan World Order. The wider cast grew to include an indiscreet American Army sergeant, a soldier in the 9th Armored Division, a Nayafi waiter, a secretary in the Cabinet Office, Garbo's supposed mistress, who gathered intelligence from Army officers over pillow talk, an Indian poet living in Brighton, and a Scottish communist who believed he was working for Moscow. The communication channels evolved with the network. In the early phase, Garbo sent handwritten letters in invisible ink, 315 letters over the course of the war, averaging 2,000 words each, totaling nearly 5,000 pages of fabricated intelligence. By 1943, the Germans demanded faster communication. Harris and Pujol invented a fictional radio mechanic, and the Abwehr provided their strongest hand cipher. From August 1943, virtually all reports went by radio. Between January and June 1944 alone, over 500 radio messages were transmitted, sometimes more than 20 in a single day. The total across the entire war approached 4,000 messages. There was a hidden dividend that even Pujol did not fully grasp. The Abwehr station in Madrid received Garbo's messages, manually decrypted them, and then re-encrypted the intelligence, using Enigma for retransmission to Berlin. Since Bletchley Park possessed both the original plain text, which M1I5 had written, and the Enigma encrypted intercept, Garbo's traffic provided ideal chosen plaintext material for cracking German cipher keys. Every lie Pujol told helped break the code that protected every other German secret. This fact is rarely discussed even in specialist literature. All of this operated within the double cross system, managed by the 20 Committee, the Roman numerals XX forming a double cross, chaired by the Oxford historian Sir John Cecil Masterman. Colonel Robertson's B1A section ran daily operations. By 1944, MY5 controlled virtually every German agent operating in Britain. Approximately 120 double agents were managed across the war, but Garbo was unique among all of them. He was not a captured enemy agent turned under duress, threatened with execution if he refused to cooperate. He was a volunteer who had built his own operation before the British even wanted him. Masterman considered him the greatest double agent of the war. The chicken farmer from Barcelona had built, from nothing, the most elaborate intelligence fiction in history. And in the spring of 1944, MY5 was about to aim that fiction at the most important secret of the century. The dress rehearsal came in November 1942, during Operation Torch, the Allied invasion of North Africa. Garbo's fictional agent on the Clyde reported a convoy painted in Mediterranean camouflage preparing to depart for a southern destination. The report was accurate in its broad strokes. A real convoy was indeed assembling, but the letter was deliberately mailed with timing calculated so that the Portuguese postal service would deliver it too late for the intelligence to be actionable. The Abwehr received it after the landings had already begun. Their reply was grateful, not suspicious. They cabled that his last reports were magnificent and expressed regret only that they had arrived too late. The template was set: accurate intelligence, deliberately stale, credibility built on truth that could no longer cause harm. For the next 18 months, Garbo's network fed Berlin a carefully calibrated diet of real but harmless facts, plausible exaggerations, and occasional deliberate errors designed to be caught and corrected, which only reinforced the impression that the rest of his reporting was solid. 62 of Garbo's dispatches were later found included in the intelligence summaries prepared for the German High Command, the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht. His material was not just reaching Berlin, it was reaching Hitler's desk. By the spring of 1944, the stakes had become existential. The Allies were planning Operation Overlord, the cross-channel invasion of occupied France. The entire operation depended on one deception: convincing the Germans that the real landing would come at the Pas de Calais, not Normandy. The deception plan was called Operation Fortitude South, and it sat within a broader umbrella of deceptions, codenamed Operation Bodyguard. Garbo was its centerpiece. The fictional 1st United States Army Group, FUSAG, was the crown jewel. On paper, it comprised 150,000 men, organized into 11 divisions, positioned across Kent and Essex in southeast England. Its commander was General George S. Patton, the American general the Wehrmacht feared above all others, conveniently available because he had been sidelined after slapping 2 hospitalized soldiers in Sicily. Patton's assignment to FUSAG was inspired. The Germans would never believe the Allies would waste their most aggressive commander on a decoy force. Garbo's agents reported everything the Germans expected to hear: unit insignia spotted on uniforms in pubs, vehicle markings photographed at railway sidings, camp locations identified by agents cycling through the Kent countryside, troop concentrations swelling week by week. He told the Germans that 75 Allied divisions were stationed in Britain. The true number was approximately 50. The Phantom 25 divisions existed only in Garbo's radio transmissions and in the maps at the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht headquarters in East Prussia. On the night of the 5th of June, 1944, special arrangements were made with the Abwehr station in Madrid. Garbo used the pretext that a sub-agent was arriving with urgent intelligence and requested that the German operators keep their radio open through the night. Everything was prepared. The most important transmission of the war was ready to send. At 3 o'clock in the morning on the 6th of June, Garbo's radio operator began transmitting. No one answered. The Madrid station was off the air. Whether through routine scheduling, negligence, or simple human error, no German operator was listening. The transmitter called again and again into silence. Madrid did not come online until 8 o'clock in the morning. By then, the first wave of Allied troops had already landed on the beaches of Normandy. The operation that Garbo's message was meant to shape was underway. Harris and Pujol turned the disaster into an advantage. When the Madrid station finally responded, Garbo's message now contained genuine operational details: troop movements, embarkation points, unit identifications that were accurate but already overtaken by events. Agent 4, the Gibraltarian waiter called Chamillus, reported that Canadian troops had been preparing to embark from southern ports. 8 minutes after Garbo's delayed transmission finally went through, the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division landed on Juno Beach. The The intelligence was real. It was also useless, and its very accuracy made everything Garbo said next impossible to dismiss. Garbo weaponized his fury. He transmitted a blistering message to Madrid. He was disgusted. In this struggle for life and death, he could not accept excuses or negligence. Were it not for his ideals and his faith, he would abandon this work as having proved himself a failure. The explosion of righteous anger was calculated to perfection. It made Garbo appear not as an asset to be managed, but as a passionate ideologue whose critical warning had been squandered by German incompetence. His credibility did not merely survive the missed transmission, it soared. Then came the message that may have altered the outcome of the entire invasion. On the night of the 8th to the 9th of June, 3 days after D-Day, Garbo transmitted for approximately 2 hours. He reported that he had personally consulted in London with 3 of his fictional agents, Donny, Dick and Doric, supposedly positioned across southeast England. His assessment, delivered with the gravity of a man who had staked his life on this network, was unambiguous. The strong troop concentrations in southeast and eastern England were not taking part in the current operations. The Normandy landings were a diversionary maneuver designed to draw off enemy reserves. The real attack, in his considered opinion, would fall on the Pas de Calais. The message reached the German High Command at 10:30 on the evening of the 9th of June. Hitler's chief intelligence officer underlined the key passage and annotated it in the margin. It confirmed the view already held that a further attack was expected at another location. Colonel General Alfred Jodl processed it. Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel processed it. At 7:30 on the morning of the 10th of June, Keitel telephoned Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, Commander-in-Chief West, and declared a state of alarm for the 15th Army in Belgium and northern France. Hitler cancelled the order already issued to move the 1st SS Panzer Division Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler to Normandy. The division's vanguard did not arrive at the front until the 27th of June, 3 full weeks after D-Day. Its main body did not reach combat positions until the first week of July. The 116th Panzer Division Windhund remained north of the Seine until late July. The entire German 15th Army, approximately 150,000 men, stayed rooted at the Pas de Calais, defending a coastline against an invasion force that did not exist. By the end of June, there were more German troops at Calais than there had been on D-Day itself. The Allies had hoped the deception might buy them 2 weeks to consolidate the beachhead. It bought them 7. Von Rundstedt later admitted that he personally concluded within a fortnight that no second landing was coming. But Hitler's headquarters were still convinced, and they were reluctant to let him move forces westward. A single Spaniard's radio transmission had overridden the professional judgment of Germany's most senior field commander. 2 days after the June 9th message, the Abwehr confirmed in a dispatch to all stations that every report received from the Arabelle network in the preceding week had been verified without exception and was to be described as especially valuable. A separate intercept, a decoded message from the Japanese ambassador Hiroshi Oshima to Tokyo, revealed that Hitler had personally told him the main blow would fall at Calais. The Führer was quoting, almost verbatim, the assessment of a chicken farmer. On the 29th of July, 1944, 7 weeks after the Normandy landings, the Abwehr station in Madrid transmitted a message that required no decryption. The Führer had personally authorized the Iron Cross Second Class for Agent Alaric in recognition of extraordinary merits. The decoration was, without exception, granted only to frontline combatants. Hitler had bent his own rules for a man who had never held a rifle in combat, never set foot on a battlefield, and never spent a single night under enemy fire. The frontline combatant in question was sitting in a safe house in Hendon, drinking tea and working for the other side. 4 months later, on the 25th of November, 1944, President 5, Director General Sir David Petrie presented Juan Pujol Garcia with the most excellent order of the British Empire at a private banquet shortly before Christmas. The award was recorded in a secret annex, specifically to keep it out of the London Gazette. The MBE was normally reserved for British citizens, and bending this rule for a Spanish national required layers of discretion that suited MI5 perfectly. Pujol had prepared a little speech. When he finished, everyone present began banging on the table in congratulation. It is worth noting, many secondary sources claim King George VI personally presented the medal. He did not. Sir David Petrie did. The king had more pressing matters. Pujol had a sense of humor about it. The financial arithmetic of the Garbo operation belongs in a novel no publisher would accept as plausible. The Abwehr paid approximately $340,000 over the course of the war to support Garbo's Phantom network, equivalent to roughly $6 million in today's money. Christopher Andrews authorized MI5 history records approximately £31,000, passing directly through Pujol's hands, which in current terms exceeds £800,000. The discrepancy between the two figures likely reflects different accounting scopes. The full notional budget versus the funds Pujol personally handled. MI5 tracked every payment with the obsessive precision of an auditing firm. At the war's end, MI5 gave Pujol £15,000 in severance and reportedly split the remaining German funds. The British government had been financed by Nazi Germany to deceive Nazi Germany. Kuhlenthals' espionage budget had paid for its own destruction. There is a domestic chapter to this story that the official histories mention reluctantly, and Pujol himself tried to erase. On the 21st of June, 1943, Araceli, isolated in wartime London, forbidden from contacting other Spaniards, speaking no English, subsisting on food she found repulsive, telephoned Thomas Harris and detonated. She did not want to live another 5 minutes with her husband. Even if they ended her life, she was going to the Spanish embassy. She would tell them everything. Harris understood immediately what this meant. If Araceli walked into the Spanish embassy and mentioned British intelligence, the information could reach Madrid within hours and Berlin within days. The entire double-cross system, not just Garbo, but every double agent MI5 controlled, would be compromised. MI5 placed a surveillance team on the Spanish embassy. Then Pujol proposed a solution that revealed just how thoroughly espionage had colonized his personality. He asked MI5 to stage his own arrest. Officers arrived at the family home. Pujol was taken away in handcuffs. Araceli was blindfolded, driven to Camp 020-R, a secret interrogation facility, and brought before her husband, who sat unshaven, gaunt, wearing prison clothes. She broke down. She swore she had never meant her threats. She signed a formal pledge never to jeopardize the operation. The man who deceived the German High Command had deployed the same techniques against his own wife, and they worked just as well. Harris, in his official report, offered dry praise for Pujol's skill in devising a farce that permitted them to save a situation which otherwise would have been intolerable. There is one final irony embedded in the Garbo triumph, one that complicates the clean narrative of a lone genius outwitting the Reich. Colonel Alexis Baron von Rohen was head of Fremde Heere West, Foreign Armies West, the section of German military intelligence responsible for assessing Allied strength. He was Hitler's most trusted analyst on the Western Front. Throughout 1943 and 44, von Rohen consistently and dramatically inflated the Allied order of battle. Where the true count stood at approximately 44 divisions, In Britain, von Roena reported 89. His figures directly supported everything Garbo was telling the Abwehr. The phantom divisions that existed only in Pujol's transmissions were independently confirmed by Germany's own chief analyst. Von Roena was a devout Christian, a Prussian monarchist, and a man horrified by SS atrocities he had witnessed in Poland. He was connected to the July 20th plot against Hitler, the conspiracy of German officers who attempted to assassinate the Führer with a bomb at the Wolf's Lair in East Prussia. After the plot failed, von Roena was arrested. On the 12th of October, 1944, he was hanged on a meat hook at Plötzensee prison in Berlin. He was 41 years old. Whether von Roena's inflation of the numbers was deliberate sabotage, a quiet act of resistance from inside the machine, or simply the standard conservative bias of a cautious intelligence analyst, remains debated by historians to this day. But if it was deliberate, then Garbo's fiction succeeded, partly because someone inside the German apparatus wanted it to succeed. The chicken farmer's lies landed on ground that had already been prepared by a dead man's conscience. After the war, Juan Pujol Garcia was afraid, not of the British, who had paid him and praised him, not of the Spanish, who never knew what he had done. He was afraid of the Germans who survived, Abwehr officers, SS veterans, former agents scattered across Europe and South America, who might one day learn that Alaric had been a fraud, men who had lost a war partly because of his lies, men with long memories and nothing left to lose. In 1949, with MI5's quiet assistance, Pujol traveled to Angola and faked his own death. The cause was listed as malaria. The British ambassador to Spain solemnly informed Araceli that her husband had perished in Africa. She had no reason to doubt him. Their 3 children, Juan Fernando, Jorge, and Maria Eugenia, grew up believing their father was dead. Pujol resurfaced in Venezuela. He settled in Choroní, a small coastal town in the state of Aragua, where he ran a bookstore and gift shop called La Casa del Regalo and taught English to employees of Shell Oil. He married a Venezuelan woman named Carmen Celia Alvarez and had 3 more children. His daughter Maria Elena died in 1975 at roughly 20 years of age. He lived modestly, anonymously, a long way from the safe houses of London and the radio transmitters of Crespigny Road. Araceli, meanwhile, returned to Spain with their children. She married Edward Chrysler, an American businessman and former Rudolph Valentino body double, and together they founded the Chrysler Art Gallery in Madrid. She maintained what one historian called a resounding and loyal silence about Garbo's identity for the rest of her life. She passed away from a stroke on the 6th of March, 1990, without ever publicly revealing what she knew. The story would have died in Choroní if not for a British writer named Rupert Allison, who published under the pen name Nigel West. Starting in 1971, Allison interviewed retired intelligence officers, none of whom knew Garbo's real name. The breakthrough came from the most unlikely source imaginable, Anthony Blunt, the exposed Soviet spy who had helped recruit Tomas Harris into MI5 decades earlier. Blunt recalled meeting Garbo and remembered the name as either Juan or Jose Garcia. In March 1984, a former MI5 officer who had served in Spain provided the full name. Allison hired a research assistant to telephone every J. Garcia in the Barcelona directory. The assistant eventually reached Pujol's nephew. On the 20th of May 1984, Allison and Pujol met in New Orleans. The chicken farmer had been dead for 35 years. Now he was alive, 72 years old, and willing to talk. Pujol traveled to London. Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, received him at Buckingham Palace in what was described as an unusually long audience. He visited the Special Forces Club and was reunited with former colleagues. Tar Robertson, Roger Fleetwood Hesketh, Cyril Mills, Desmond Bristow, men who had been young during the war and were now old, men who remembered. On the 6th of June, 1984, the 40th anniversary of D-Day, Juan Pujol Garcia stood on Omaha Beach. He looked at the rows of white crosses stretching across the grass. He wept, and he said, "I did not do enough." His son Jorge, then 41, and director of the Chrysler 2 Gallery in Madrid, told journalists, "I knew about the spy Garbo, but I could never have imagined it was my father." Juan Pujol Garcia died on the 10th of October 1988 in Caracas, a stroke. He was 76. No official tribute came from Venezuela, Britain, or Spain. He was buried in Choroní. His gravestone reads simply, Juan Pujol Garcia, 1402-12-10-1088. Tomás Harris, the man who built the Garbo network alongside him, who spent 6 hours a day for 3 years weaving fiction into intelligence, had met his end 24 years earlier. On the 27th of January, 1964, his new Citroën left a familiar road at Llucmajor in Mallorca and struck a tree. His wife survived. Harris did not. MI5 had been preparing to interview him about possible connections to the Cambridge spy ring. The writer Chapman Pincher suggested the KGB had arranged the accident. The matter has never been resolved. No major feature film has ever been made about Agent Garbo. The story of a bespectacled chicken farmer who built an imaginary spy network, fooled the German high command, held 150,000 troops at the wrong beach, collected medals from both sides, faked his own death, and vanished into South America. This story somehow has never reached a cinema screen. It may be that no screenwriter would dare pitch it. No audience would believe it was true.